Symbols are objects, images, words, or actions that represent something else, often with a deeper or more significant meaning. In the context of social control, symbols play a crucial role in shaping and reinforcing societal norms, values, and power structures. They are used as a method of social control by influencing people's behavior, attitudes, and beliefs. Symbols are often used to convey authority, group affiliations, or societal expectations. For example, a uniform worn by a police officer can symbolize law and order, while a religious symbol such as a cross or crescent can represent a particular set of beliefs and values. Through symbols, societies and institutions can create a shared understanding of what is acceptable or unacceptable behavior, often leading individuals to self-regulate their actions based on the meaning associated with these symbols. This can ultimately influence social order and reinforce existing power dynamics. A combination of cognitive processes and neural pathways influences the brain's ability to automatically process and assign value to symbols. This can occur through various mechanisms, including pattern recognition, emotional associations, and implicit learning. Pattern recognition plays a significant role in how the brain processes symbols. We are constantly exposed to various symbols in our environment, and through repeated exposure, our brains learn to recognize and categorize these symbols based on familiar patterns. This automatic categorization allows the brain to quickly process symbols without conscious effort. Additionally, symbols often carry emotional or affective meaning. The brain's limbic system, which is involved in processing emotions, plays a role in associating symbols with certain emotional responses. For example, a national flag may evoke feelings of pride or patriotism, while a warning symbol may trigger a sense of caution or fear. Moreover, implicit learning and conditioning contribute to the automatic processing of symbols. Over time, individuals learn to associate certain symbols with specific outcomes or consequences through repeated exposure and reinforcement. This can lead to the automatic assignment of value to symbols, even without conscious awareness. Overall, the brain's ability to automatically process and give value to symbols involves a complex interplay of cognitive, emotional, and learning processes, allowing us to respond to symbols rapidly and often unconsciously. Medical practitioners and the health industry heavily rely on symbols and our associations with them in various ways. One prominent example is the use of the caduceus and the staff of Asclepius as symbols associated with medicine and healing. The caduceus, a staff with two snakes entwined around it, has been mistakenly used as a symbol of medicine in the United States, often appearing in medical logos, documents, and uniforms. This symbol is derived from the Greek god Hermes and is associated with commerce, eloquence, and negotiation. However, it has been widely adopted as a symbol of medicine and healthcare in the U.S., creating a strong association in the public's mind. In contrast, the staff of Asclepius, which features a single snake wrapped around a staff, is historically linked to the Greek god of healing, Asclepius, and is recognized as the true ancient symbol of medicine and healing. These symbols have become ingrained in the collective consciousness as representations of the medical profession and health industry. When people see these symbols, they often immediately associate them with healthcare, medical practices, and healing. As a result, these symbols play a crucial role in conveying trust, expertise, and authority within the medical field, shaping people's perceptions and expectations of healthcare providers and institutions. Listen to what these doctors say about the use of the caduceus.
Things you don't learn in medical school. Caduceus by M. Prakash and J. Carlton. Johnny, it is a known fact that every symbol has a unique meaning. In that case, what does this unique symbol, caduceus, which is used, in various forms and modifications, by many medical organizations mean? Is it just a custom or does it have a deeper meaning? The story of this medical symbol started way back in 1400 BC, traveled through time, has undergone many changes, misconceptions, and has finally reached the present state. Here we have tried to give you a glimpse of how it has evolved over time, what it actually means, what have we interpreted, and what can we learn from it. There are certain things that will not be taught in medical schools, and it is usually learned out of our own interests. The Caduceus is one of them. Being in the medical profession for so many years, have we ever thought what that symbol that we wear on our coats, print on our prescription pads and textbooks, stand for? So let us get reminded of some of the long-forgotten facts in medicine. The worthiness of the medical symbol has been debated for a long time. If you observe closely, there are two symbols that are used to represent medicine as seen in Figure 1. One is the Caduceus, and the other is the rod of Asclepius. Caduceus is a symbol with a short staff entwined by two serpents, sometimes surmounted by wings, while the rod of Asclepius is the one with a single snake. The similarity between both these symbols is the snake. Why a snake? Have you ever wondered why is a snake, which is a symbol of destruction, used ironically as a symbol of healing? Well, the answer lies deep sown in history when Moses, around 1400 BC, used the bronze serpent erected on the pole to cure the people who were bitten by snakes. The other reasons why serpent has been used is the shedding of the skin that indicated longevity and immortality. The snake's ability to change from a lethargic stage to one of rapid activity symbolized the power to convalesce from an illness. Charus and Martin subjected the viper to innumerable experimental investigations and concluded they were valuable remedies for itch, erysipelas, measles, smallpox, leprosy, and were a valuable adjunct to the production of a beautiful skin. Hence, the snake has been a powerful symbol of healing itself. The snake mentioned in the symbol is an Aesculapian snake which belongs to the family Colubridae. Its zoological name Elaphlombgissima. Smooth, glossy, and slender, the snake has a uniformly brown back with a streak of darker color behind the eyes. The snake's belly is yellowish or whitish and has ridged scales that catch easily on rough surfaces. Which of these? The confusion starts with the use of Caduceus and rod of Asclepius. The Caduceus is a symbol of Hermes or Mercury in Greek and Roman mythology. Caduceus symbol is identified with thieves, merchants, and messengers, and Mercury is said to be a patron of thieves and outlaws, not a desirable protector of physicians. The symbol originated when Mercury once attempted to stop a fight between two snakes by throwing his rod at them, whereupon they twined themselves around the rod, and the symbol was born. The rod of Asclepius belongs to Aesculapius, who was the revered Greek god of healing. When did we get it wrong? The modern use of staff of Aesculapius started when the American Medical Association had the staff of Aesculapius as its symbol in 1910. The Royal Army Medical Corps, French military service, and other medical organizations had done the same. Even today the World Health Organization, Medical Council of India symbols have the staff of Aesculapius in them. U.S. Army Medical Corps, the Public Health Service, and the U.S. Marine Hospital however use the Caduceus largely as a result of the adoption of the Caduceus as its insignia by the U.S. Army Medical Corps in 1902. Thus, it symbolizes administrative emblem, implying neutral and non-combatant status. How many of us really know the truth? In 1990, a survey was done in the U.S. and it was found that 62% of the professional associations used the rod of Aesculapius while 37% used the Caduceus and 76% of commercial organizations used the Caduceus. Can it be related to a disease? Does any disease that can be treated by a stick come to your mind? Yes, it is none other than Dracunculus medinensis, the guinea worm. This is potentially a disease that can be treated with the stick that was also one of the reasons why the medical symbol originated. Conclusion: the use of the symbol is very ironical, as how can destructive creatures used to represent a healing purpose? The answer lies in the snake's characters of skin shedding representing immortal life, sudden change in activity emphasizing transit from sickness to cure, early use in the Bible, and most important of all, it was used by Asclepius, who was the god of healing.
Educational video and the fair use doctrine. We want to clarify that this video is intended solely for educational purposes. The content is a transformative work that incorporates copyrighted material while strictly adhering to the fair use doctrine. The objective is to provide a narrative that encourages critical thinking and motivates viewers to form their own opinions. All copyrighted material belongs to its respective owners, and there is no intention of violating any copyright laws. Additionally, this video is protected under the Fair Use Doctrine. Wise Society is a virtual platform that aims to instill wisdom and knowledge into education. It is powered by Bold Enterprises, LLC, and can be found on YouTube under the handle The Bold Authority.
What does the Star of Life mean? The Star of Life is a blue, six-pointed star, internationally known as a symbol that represents emergency medical services. The 6 branches of the star are symbols of the 6 main tasks executed by rescuers through the emergency chain. Detection. The first observers on the scene are usually untrained civilians or those involved in the incident. Reporting. The first observers call for professional help and provide details to enable a response. Response. The first professional rescuers are dispatched and arrive on the scene as quickly as possible. On-scene care. The emergency medical services personnel provide immediate care to the extent of their capabilities on scene. Care in transit. The emergency medical services personnel transfer the patient to a hospital via an ambulance or helicopter for specialized care. They provide medical care during the transportation. Transfer to definitive care. Appropriate specialized care is provided at the hospital. The serpent and staff in the symbol portray the staff of Asclepius, an ancient Greek physician deified as the god of medicine. Overall, the staff represents medicine and healing, with the skin-shedding serpent being indicative of renewal.
In a small valley in the eastern Peloponnese lie the remnants of what was once the greatest healing center of the ancient world. Belonging to the nearby coastal city of Epidaurus, it would have attracted visitors from all over Greece and beyond, with its healthy climate, mineral springs, and skilled physicians. But this wasn't a hospital in the modern sense. Rather, it was a sacred sanctuary dedicated to Asclepius, the Greek god of healing. We first hear of Asclepius in Homer's Iliad, thought to have been composed around the 8th century BC. There he appears as a man renowned for his healing abilities and has 2 sons who are physicians in the Greek army. Although there is some ambiguity in the wording, the Homeric poems seem to view him as a mere mortal. A few centuries later, however, he had been firmly established as a god. According to this view, Asclepius was the son of Apollo and Coronis, a mortal princess from Thessaly. However, while Coronis was pregnant, she fell in love with a man called Ischys and went on to marry him. This so angered Apollo that he sent his sister Artemis to kill her, but as the body of Coronis lay burning on the funeral pyre, he decided to save the baby from its mother's womb, performing the first cesarean section. In this way, Asclepius' very birth was due to an act of medical intervention. This is just one out of many versions of the story though. For example, in some accounts, Coronis abandons her child near Epidaurus in shame for his illegitimacy, leaving the baby to be looked after by a goat and a dog. Yet another version claims that his mother was Arsinoe, daughter of Leucippus, and that he was born in the region of Messenia on the southwestern side of the Peloponnese. The question of his birthplace was eventually settled, however, as an oracle was brought in and attested that it was indeed Epidaurus. There are also variants of the story where Apollo himself kills Coronis and where Hermes is the one who saves the child. The motherless Asclepius was then brought up by his father, who gave him the gift of healing and the secrets of medicine using plants and herbs. He was also tutored by Chiron, an old and wise centaur who lived on Mount Pelion. Under their training, he became a great physician and surgeon and went on to raise the art of medicine to unprecedented heights. Eventually, he became so skilled that he could not only cure all the sick, but even return the dead back to life. There are various traditions regarding how he acquired this latter power. According to one, it was thanks to Athena giving him the blood of Medusa, as that which had flowed from the veins on the right side of her body could be used for resurrection. Another story states that Asclepius was once commanded to restore the life of Glaucus and had thereupon been confined in a secret prison. While standing about pondering on what he should do, a snake crept near his staff. Lost in his thoughts, Asclepius unknowingly killed it by hitting it repeatedly. After a while, another snake came there with a herb in its mouth and placed it on the head of the dead one, after which both escaped together. Seeing this, Asclepius decided to use the same herb on Glaucus and successfully brought him back. It is sometimes also said that a snake taught Asclepius the secret knowledge of resurrection in return for some kindness rendered by him. Before long, rumors of Asclepius's miraculous healing powers spread across the world, and ancient sources mention several persons who are believed to have been brought back to life by him. But in so doing, he aroused the wrath of Zeus. Not only was Zeus angered to see many of his old enemies, whom he himself had struck dead with his thunderbolts, returning to life, but he feared that men might gradually end up escaping death altogether and thereby breaking the eternal division between humanity and the gods. In addition, some sources say that his brother Hades, king of the underworld, was complaining about the diminishing number of dead. And so Zeus killed Asclepius with a flash of lightning. Apollo protested against his son's treatment, but was himself punished by Zeus for impiety and made to serve Admetos, the king of Thessaly, for 1 year. According to some traditions, Asclepius was then placed among the stars, taking on the shape of the constellation Ophiuchus, the serpent holder. Later, however, Apollo managed to convince Zeus to resurrect his son as a god and to give him a place on Mount Olympus. Asclepius is generally said to have married Epion, the goddess of soothing, with whom he had many children. Most of them are personifications of the powers ascribed to their father. For example, Iaso is the goddess of recuperation from illness, and Hygeia is the goddess of health, cleanliness, and sanitation. However, as mentioned earlier, he also had 2 sons who appear in the Iliad, and a guild or possibly priesthood called the Asclepiads may have claimed descent from them. Continuing the art of medicine and healing of Asclepius, they went on to produce many great physicians, the most famous being Hippocrates, the father of medicine. In antiquity, temples dedicated to Asclepius could be found all over Greece, and eventually his cult even spread to Rome. Usually they were built in healthy places, on hills outside of towns, and near wells which are believed to have healing powers. According to the geographer Strabo, the oldest of these temples was located in the town of Trica in Thessaly, but its site has never been discovered. Another important sanctuary existed on the island of Kos, which also had an important school of physicians, and one could be found in Athens just below the Acropolis on the western slope. His principal seat of worship, however, was the sanctuary of Epidaurus. Established in the 6th century BC, it grew out of an earlier cult of Apollo, and the area has been devoted to healing deities since prehistory. The precinct was surrounded by an extensive grove, and within it no one was allowed to die or to be born. Ancient visitors would have entered the grounds through a monumental gate, of which little now remains, and then followed a processional pathway that ended up in the temple of Asclepius. Within it was a magnificent statue of ivory and gold, depicting the god as a handsome and manly figure resembling that of Zeus. Seated on a throne, he held a staff in his one hand while resting the other upon the head of a serpent. Beside him would have also been a dog. Both of these animals, especially the serpent, were sacred to him. This was partially because they helped him bring back Glaucus, but also because snakes were associated with health in general and were further believed to be guardians of wells with healing powers. Therefore, a special type of tame snakes were kept in the sanctuary, and the god himself frequently appeared in the form of a serpent. Among the other noteworthy buildings on the site were the circular tholos with its mysterious underground labyrinth, the stadium, as well as the massive theatre which was built to seat 14,000 visitors and is still in use today. The last 2 would have come to good use during the Pan-Hellenic Asclepia festival, which every 4 years attracted droves of people to celebrate theatre, sports, and music in honor of Asclepius. For those coming to Epidaurus to be cured, however, other parts of the sanctuary would have been of primary interest, and their experience would have been quite different from the festival goers. First, one would need to go through catharsis, or purification. This involved taking a number of ritual baths and was accompanied by a cleansing diet which could last as long as 6 days. Then, once you were considered pure, you were ready to be diagnosed and receive prescriptions. This was done through incubatio, a sort of dream therapy. Patients would be led into the enkymeterion, or dormitory, where they would be put into a hypnotic state, likely induced by hallucinogens, and then begin their dream journey. As they slept, they would be visited by either Asclepius himself or one of his children, who would reveal a remedy for their disease. In the event that you didn't have a personal encounter in the dream, you could still report what you'd experienced to one of the priests and be given an interpretation. Usually, the cures involved visits to the baths or a gymnasium, although you may also have been prescribed certain diets or medicinal herbs. More advanced remedies, such as surgical operations, were also offered, for example the opening of an abdominal abscess or the removal of traumatic foreign material. In this case, again, the patient would have taken some sort of drug to serve as anesthesia. Once you had been cured, it was customary to offer a sacrifice to the god that had helped you, usually consisting of a rooster or a goat. It was also common to offer a likeness of the body part that had been cured, or to hang up a tablet recording your name, disease, and the manner in which it had been cured. Many of these have been found, as in this example where a certain Caduceus Gallus has combined the tablet with the body part in thanks for gaining his ability to hear. Having experienced its golden age during the 4th and 3rd centuries BC, the sanctuary at Epidaurus continued to prosper under the Romans, who renovated it and added new buildings. In the late Empire, however, its fortunes took a turn for the worse, and in 395 AD it was raided by the Goths. The sanctuary finally shut down in 426 when Emperor Theodosius II decreed the closure of all pagan sites in Greece. It seems to have then been converted into a Christian healing center for a while, but following two major earthquakes in 522 and 551, the site was abandoned for good.
Did you know that before Asclepius became the god of medicine, he was a mortal killed by Zeus? Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video is all about the numerous deities from the ancient Greek pantheon that were responsible for all aspects of healing and medicine. Apollo, twin brother to the goddess Artemis, was the Olympian god of many things: music, oracles and prophecy, plagues, singing and music, archery, and healing. The god, as frequently happened, fell in love with a mortal, Coronis, who in turn loved the mortal Iscus. Apollo sent a white raven to follow Coronis, and in doing so he found out about her adultery. In some versions, Apollo had his sister Artemis kill the girl, and in others, Apollo killed both Coronis and Iscus. Coronis was pregnant with Asclepius, son of Apollo, at the time of her death, and so he was saved by either Hermes or Apollo himself, and carried to the centaur Chiron, a tutor to heroes in hunting and healing. Asclepius, under the tutelage of Chiron, excelled in the arts of medicine and healing. He could heal wounds made by bronze weapons and stones, and could heal limbs ravaged by the sun's heat or the cold of winter. He could remedy pain and affliction with soothing balms and draughts, and with songs or incantations. He became so skilled a surgeon that he not only saved lives of those sick and injured, but he could bring back those who had already passed into Hades' realm. In some versions of the tale, it was with the blood from the right side of the Gorgon given to him by the goddess Athena that he could revive people from the dead. And in others, it was through his skill as a healer. Either way, Zeus was enraged that a mortal would upend the balance between the immortals and mortals on Earth, and so he killed the healer with a bolt of lightning. In anger, Apollo struck back at Zeus and killed the Cyclopes, who were the skilled artisans who forged the thunderbolts for Zeus. After his death, Asclepius was deified and became the god of medicine. As a god, Asclepius was depicted on pottery and coins, in mosaics and sculpture from ancient Greece, and he is often seen holding his bacteria, which is a staff with a sacred snake coiled around it. This staff has since become the modern-day symbol of medicine. Asclepius had numerous children, all with responsibilities in the realm of medicine and healing. According to Homer in his Iliad, Asclepius was the father of two mortals, who were both powerful healers and fought in the Trojan War, Podalirius and Machaon, although their mother isn't mentioned. With his wife Epione, the goddess of soothing pain, Asclepius was the father of 5 daughters, who, collectively, are known as the Asclepiades: Iaso, Aegle, Panaceia, Acaso, and Hygeia. although Hygeia is sometimes referred to as Asclepius's wife, not daughter. The daughters of Asclepius and Epione were all responsible for different aspects of healing and medicine. Iaso was the goddess of remedies and ways of healing. Aegle was the goddess of radiance or radiant good health. Panacea was the goddess of all cures and remedies in the forms of salves and medicine, from which the word panacea, a remedy for any disease or difficulty, comes. Akeso was the goddess of the process of curing and healing sickness and wounds, and Hygeia was the goddess of good health. These 5 daughters were the attendants to their father, and Akeso had a male counterpart known as Caduceus or Telesphoros. He is presumably a son of Asclepius and is the god of recuperation from illness or injury, the convalescence or completion of the healing process. Among Asclepius's children, Hygeia, from whose name we get the word hygiene, is probably the best known, and she is frequently depicted in art from ancient Greece, wearing a long robe, sometimes accompanied by a serpent. The Orphic hymn to Hygeia tells us how the goddess was revered in ancient Greece. Charming queen of all, lovely and blooming, blessed Hygeia, mother of all, bringer of bliss, hear me. Through you vanish the illnesses that afflict man. Through you, every house blossoms to the fullness of joy. Both Asclepius and Hygeia had cults dedicated to them in antiquity as deities of healing and health. Hygeia was venerated in Athens and linked with Athena as Athena Hygeia, and a statue of the goddess was mounted on the Acropolis. She was venerated in Oropos village in Attica, and sculptures of Hygeia and Asclepius were situated in the cities of Megara, Corinth, and Argos. Asclepius was particularly venerated at the sanctuary of Epidaurus called the Asclepieion, which was founded in the 6th century BCE. This sanctuary was visited by people from all over Greece and was the most important healing center in the ancient world. Resident priests administered medicines to the ill who visited the sanctuary, and the sanctuary itself consisted of the Thymele, which was a round marble building with a mysterious underground labyrinth beneath it, and a larger-than-life statue of Asclepius in the huge temple to the god. There was also the Enkoimeterion, which was the place where patients would spend the night after having gone through numerous purification rituals. They would await dreams where the god would appear and offer remedies and cures for their maladies. And the next day, the cures would either be self-administered or carried out by the priests in the more complex cases. Often, those who were cured would leave votive offerings of the cured body part in thanks to Asclepius. The site of Epidaurus is best known for its well-preserved theatre, which would have been used in the Asclepieia festival, which was held every 4 years, beginning in the 5th century BCE in honor of Asclepius. Why do you think the Greeks had so many different gods presiding over specific parts of medicine and healing?
The instruction in Matthew 10:16, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves," is part of a larger passage where Hamashiach is sending out his disciples to be as shrewd and discerning as serpents, but as innocent as doves amid potential dangers and persecution. This usage of serpents instructs us about the nature of a serpent and how to use wisdom. It gives us insight into how to exercise prudence and strategic thinking in our actions while maintaining the moral and ethical aspects of wisdom. In various ancient and present societies, the symbolism of serpents and serpent wisdom has been manipulated and appropriated for mythological and paganistic purposes. Serpent worship has been associated with knowledge, rebirth, fertility, and dualistic symbolism in many cultures. In ancient mythologies, serpent symbols have been linked to myths, traditions, and deity worship. For instance, in Greek mythology, the serpent or dragon is often associated with guardianship of sacred spaces and treasures. In Hinduism, the serpent god Vasuki is depicted as a symbol of divine energy and protection. Similarly, in Mesoamerican cultures, such as the Aztecs and Mayans, serpent symbolism is deeply intertwined with concepts of creation, time, and cycles of life and death, often associated with deities such as Quetzalcoatl. It's important to recognize that the appropriation and manipulation of serpent wisdom, symbolism by various societies throughout history, can often be attributed to the multifaceted and complex nature of human cultural and religious expression. The interpretation and use of serpent symbolism can vary widely based on cultural, religious, and historical contexts. Drawing from the instruction in Matthew 10:16, it is important to approach the complexities of mythology and symbolism as a means of social control and manipulation with study, prayer, discernment, and humility. Acknowledging that through symbols, many of us have been deceived. Just as Hamashikak advised his disciples to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, we are reminded to navigate the world with a balanced and prudent approach. As we journey through life, let us embrace wisdom in our discernment and uphold righteousness in our intentions. By remaining vigilant against misinformation and manipulation, and by seeking truth, we can strive to navigate the complexities of our kingdom beliefs and edify others with clarity of thought and precision of speech.
Father, the hour has come. Give glory to your Son, so that the Son may give glory to you. For you gave him authority over all people, so that he might give eternal life to all those you gave him. And eternal life means to know you, the only true God, and to know Christ whom you sent. I have shown your glory on earth. I have finished the work you gave me to do. Father, give me glory in your presence now, the same glory I had with you before the world was made. I have made you known to those you gave me out of the world. They belonged to you, and you gave them to me. They have obeyed your word, and now they know that everything you gave me comes from you. I gave them the message that you gave me, and they received it. They know that it is true that I came from you, and they believe that you sent me. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, but for those you gave me, for they belong to you. All I have is yours, and all you have is mine, and my glory is shown through them. And now I am coming to you. I am no longer in the world, but they are in the world. Holy Father, keep them safe by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one, just as you and I are one. While I was with them, I kept them safe by the power of your name, the name you gave me. I protected them, and not one of them was lost, except the man who was bound to be lost, so that the scripture might come true. And now I am coming to you, and I say these things in the world, so that they might have my joy in their hearts in all its fullness. I gave them your message, and the world hated them, because they do not belong to the world, just as I do not belong to the world. But I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but I do ask you to keep them safe from the evil one. Just as I do not belong to the world, they do not belong to the world. Dedicate them to yourself by means of the truth. Your word is truth. I sent them into the world just as you sent me into the world. And for their sake I dedicate myself to you in order that they too may be truly dedicated to you. I pray not only for them, but also for those who believe in me because of their message. I pray that they may all be one. Father, may they be in us, just as you are in me and I am in you. May they be one so that the world will believe that you sent me. I gave them the same glory you gave me, so that they may be one just as you and I are one. I and them and you and me. So that they may be completely one, in order that the world may know that you sent me, and that you love them as you love me. Father, you have given them to me, and I want them to be with me where I am, so that they may see my glory, the glory you gave me. For you loved me before the world was made. Righteous Father, the world does not know you, but I know you, and these know that you sent me. I made you known to them, and I will continue to do so, in order that the love you have for me may be in them, and so that I also may be in them.